Hello everyone! The following is a summary of floods, a natural disaster which is profound information about human strength in facing disasters, and at the same time, a call for solidarity to combat the negative effects of climate change. Now, let's go. After nearly 20 hours of torrential rain, the hillside above this Ecuadorian residential area could no longer withstand the landslides mixed with rainwater that raged through the streets of the capital Quito, carrying away cars, trees, and people. Was swept into the mud and became dazed and disoriented, his fate unknown to his neighbors. In August 2020, Dominica faced a powerful storm and persistent heavy rain, causing significant flooding across the island. Extreme rain has raised water levels in rivers and streams, causing them to overflow their banks and wash away everything in their path. The flood scene in Dominica in 2020 was a horrifying sight. Violent floodwaters flow down from high mountains, sweeping through valleys, grasslands, and residential areas. Severe floods knocked down houses, trees, bridges, roads, and other infrastructure. The sound of floodwaters and people's screams created a horrifying and heartbreaking scene. Many people were killed and seriously injured in the fierce flood. Villages and communities are completely isolated, inaccessible from the outside due to destroyed roads. Infrastructure, including transportation systems, roads, and electricity, has been devastated, causing great difficulty in providing relief and support to affected people. The Dominican government and international organizations quickly deployed rescue forces and provided necessities to affected people. A prolonged period of heavy rain has caused water levels to rise suddenly in rivers and streams. The water level increased rapidly, causing rivers to overflow into residential areas and causing serious flooding. In Germany, the alleys and streets are now flooded with water. The very high water level has flooded into buildings and houses. And infrastructure, high water causes cars to float on the water. People's assets flow into the sea, and people living here have to move to safe places. In November 2019, heavy rains led to floods, especially in the eastern and northern states of Malaysia. Some of the most serious floods occurred in the states of Kelantan, Terengganu, and Pahang. Major rivers such as Sungai Kelantan and Sungai Pahang overflowed their banks, causing flooding and extensive damage to residential and agricultural areas. Houses were filled with water up to the roofs. All livestock and poultry were swept away by the water, and property and assets seemed to be submerged in a sea of water. Districts and villages were isolated and traffic was cut off, causing thousands of people to evacuate and lose their homes and property. People passing by had their motorbikes swept away. Police, military forces, and rescue organizations had to mobilize large forces to evacuate and provide aid to affected people. Causes of flooding in China include heavy rains, forest exploitation, and imbalances in river systems due to dam and reservoir construction. Heavy rains during the rainy season cause large amounts of water to overflow into rivers, causing blockages and dam overflows. Rising water levels wash away cars, logs, utensils, and all people's property. All flow into the river and into the sea. People cannot hold on to anything. Crop growing and animal husbandry areas are also very damaged. People have to struggle to move to places of absolute safety. This was the 2013 Uttarakhand flood. The fast-flowing water blocked the way across the river, so people had to use big trees as bridges to cross the river during flood days. The heaviest rain in 41 years caused destruction and damage to many houses, buildings, trees, and people. It was a terrible rain. On August 5th, the Prime Minister of Slovenia said that the flood disaster had devastated many places and caused damage estimated at more than 550 million euros. Prime Minister emphasized that this was the worst natural disaster in the country's history. Two-thirds of the country's territory, home to 2 million people, was affected. According to reports, at least 3 people died, including 2 Dutch climbers, probably due to lightning. Thousands of people were forced to evacuate to a safe place, and many were forced to get help from helicopters or rescue boats. After the earthquake, a giant tsunami flooded coastal areas and rivers, causing devastating floods. Cities and plains located in heavily affected areas include Sendai, Miyagi, Fukushima, and many others. The flood swept away thousands of houses, displaced hundreds of thousands of people, and caused enormous loss of life and property. The Tohoku flood killed more than 15,000 people and injured more than 6,000 people, and thousands of people missing. This was one of the most astonishing natural disasters in Japanese history. Across the country, millions of people have been affected, from loss of homes and property to unemployment and poor health. And this was also a serious flood in a market in India that washed away the fruit and vegetable baskets of the merchants selling at the market, a very bad thing for the people here. Thanks for your watching. Hope you have time to feel about climate change. Please like, share, and subscribe to get more of our updates every day. Goodbye and see you again.